Here again. In the last session, we discussed how to set up Telepresence and access the remote service locally. Uh, I have Telepresence running here, and I was able to run a curl command here and get the remote service locally. I can do that in the browser as well. So I just want to have HTTP in front of it, and I'm able to access the remote service locally. I'm also able to access not only postal service but other services as well. Since I have a VPN connection to my cluster, and the way to say, now what our goal is to take a look at developing and debugging the review service, which is a scenario one, which needs to access service two. So when we are trying to develop review service locally, while this particular service will run locally, it will access service two in the remote cluster. And we'll see how that goes. Now, before that, let's take a look at the source code a little bit. Okay, so this is our main function. So our review service runs on port 8081 when it starts. Okay, and we're calling this get review function. So here we go. So what we do is that we define a person service URL, the value for which we get from this particular environment variable. And once we get that, we make a call to it, okay, and get the response back. And we unmarshal the response into a reviewer variable. And then create our response out here and simply return it. So the key part here is that we are getting this person service URL from an environment variable. And when you do actual deployment, your Kubernetes deployment file, this is where we specify it. And when we try to debug our service locally, yeah, we need to be able to specify this as well. So in the Visual Studio Code, you have this option for debugging. I have my Go debugger set up already. So launch, let's first add configuration and specify environment variable. Okay, my environment variable files, I'll just copy it from here. Okay. Um, so we are all set here. Let's close this environment file and using file and open our main.go. That will be running. Now let's set up some breakpoints. Not here, not 77, 75. Okay, let's go to our debug and let's roll. Okay, so whenever the application is running our service, we should be able to access this on port 8081. Just to make sure, let's refresh this that we are able to access remote services, person services accessible. Okay, now let's go ahead and run a debug session. My machine is a little bit slow because of the recording software QuickTime that I'm using. Probably I need a better, more efficient screen recording software, but this is what I have for now. Okay, so now since the debug session is on, let's go ahead and access localhost 8081 where our service is running. That should trigger our application, and see, we are at our breakpoint, and we can actually take a look at the variables. Let's watch this particular variable. What do we have here? What happened for whatever be the reason? Why am I not getting a variable? This took a lot longer than I anticipated. So we're able to call the person service, which was called over here, and we were able to get a response over here. We place the response in reviewer, which you're passing again and again. And let's move on to the next breakpoint. This was horribly slow, but whatever. Okay, so let's. Okay, but this was horribly slow. Uh, but the point being that we're able to access the remote service and debug our file locally. Okay. Okay. Reviews. So we're able to call stack. Yep. And these are our two reviews that we created whenever they come. Uh, but yeah, this is what we have. Okay. And once you're satisfied with your application locally, whatever code that you have created, so I've got these things here, whatever we had the code. Once you're satisfied, go ahead and build your Docker image, okay, using this Docker file, or push it to GitHub or whatever, or GitLab or whatever Git repository that you use, and trigger your CI/CD pipeline that can use this deployment file version 1, version 2, whatever that you have created. I have a couple of scripts. One, I'm doing it manually, local development. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. And once my debug session is over, I should be able to see the response here. Yep, the same response. So I'll stop the debug session over here and end the session. Thank you guys for listening.